Morning. Today's the day that we're going to get the panel cut out, and we're going to cut out the left side armrest so I can make room for a new throttle quadrant and get the stock pitch trim out of there and the landing brake. So let's get started. So first things first, please forgive the noise. They're doing some work on a helicopter up there, and they just got done doing an engine change. They're doing some testing and rotor balancing and stuff like that. So I probably won't be doing so much face-to-face like this. I'm gonna have the GoPro going. I think I've figured a couple of things out that I want to do with that. So first thing I'm going to do today is I'm going to work on, oh, zoom, they don't like me. Okay, first thing we're going to work on, getting this out, the landing brake and the stock pitch trim is going to come out. Bolt's got to come out. I got to get my mirror out, see what's all under there, see what I need to do to get all that stuff out, and I need to get all of this stuff, at least get the springs disconnected. I do have the actuator for the landing brake on order, so let's see what that's going to take. I think I'm going to start working back here, get all this stuff taken out first, or like I said, at least get the springs off, so that way I don't have spring tension on the landing brake lever up here. And yeah, let's see how that goes. All right, so as with what happens to me every now and then, I got distracted and went on a side quest. Small one, but it's something I did want to get done anyways, and I just took a couple minutes to figure out what it was, or how to do it. So what I ended up doing is the battery tray that laid down right in here. I pulled that out, 2 bolts. I like seeing how this is mounted in here, or how it was mounted, just by those 2 L brackets. Hopefully that gives me some more options later on. I'm going to be going with a different battery. Obviously this had 2 batteries in it, wired together to make 24 volts total. So it's just going to get a single 12 volt this time because I'm going with a 12 volt system. And the battery tray, I'm assuming this is how it was originally. Helicopter's making noise again. That's all it was. Those 2 screws, the 2 middle screws, the one right by my thumb and the one on the opposite of it, those are what went through the through that L channel down there. And so yeah, that's going to get remade out of something else. Plus I can it gives me a chance to move the battery around a little bit. I move it more forward if I want to, more backwards if I want to, depending upon where weight and balance comes out. And it gives me a little bit more room for electronics up in the front, which is actually pretty cool. I do like that. So all right, I guess I'm going to quit procrastinating on the job that I came here to do today. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of nervous about cutting this thing out. I do have some stuff I got to take out before, like I said before, the pitch trim and the landing brake. So all right, let's go. So looking around at it, getting ready to do everything, one thing that I found that I do need to pull out that I forgot about is I need to pull the arm off, or the tube for the landing gear. This is going to be replaced with an electric unit. I'm probably going to order that unit tonight. So I got to get that out of there because the panel, I'm going to make my cut down here. I'm going to probably get the landing light out of there. So I'm going to cut right here, so this needs to come out. So how that's going to happen, I don't know. What I'm really concerned about is it's hard to see, but trying to get that bolt out. Quit focusing on my finger. Trying to get that bolt out right there, which holds the crank tube onto it. So let's see how that's going to play out. That ought to be fun. So I can't get my GoPro in here to show you guys how I'm doing this. It's really, really tight in there. So I've got my wrench over here on that side, got my 1/4-inch socket over here. I do already have it loose, so I'm just kind of doing the best I can to get this thing out of here. I can't really, helicopter again, can't really get my fingers down in here. Oh, would you focus? Can't really get my fingers down in there to try to loosen it by hand. So just wanted you guys to see how tight that is down there. And this ended up using a 3/8 wrench for the bolt head and a 1/4-inch socket for the other side. The interesting part, hopefully it won't be too hard, but the interesting part is going to be getting that bolt out of there. The nut should get out without a problem. The bolt, I'm probably going to have to rotate the landing gear and see if I can get that bolt pointed straight up. If the threads are still catching a little bit with the bolt straight up, it'll be a lot easier. I can put my drill on, or I can get my regular socket wrench on it. I'm not really concerned about it, but just, it's really, really tight in there. But it's a long easy, so there's not a whole lot of room in the whole thing. So, all right, I'm gonna get back to finishing that up, and yeah, next update in just a minute. All right, I got the landing gear crank out. Got the landing gear crank out. What I'm probably going to do, use this thing as a pointer. I'm going to put a bolt, probably going to put the bolt back in that hole, put the nut on the other side, and then probably cut this down a little bit, so that way I have some, well, you know what, now that I think about it, no, I'm not going to do that. I like it when that happens. My thought was to cut this down and slot the end with the bolt in there, so that way I could put the landing gear up and down. Problem is the ratchet mechanism, the piece that keeps it locked and everything, is right here and out of the plane, so I can't do that. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to crank the gear the rest of the way back up, because I had to put it down a little bit so I could get to the bolt head, pull the bolt head out. And what I've got a stool with some protection on it, and that's sitting on the bumper, the little nose bumper right there. But I'm going to end up moving that back under where the landing gear's at. The landing gear doesn't protrude out, so I'm not worried about hurting it or anything. But I'm going to put that back under there to hold the nose up. And I've got the wheels chalked and everything. I'm going to get better chalks. It's got wood chalks now. They like to slide on this floor. I'm going to get some rubber ones. Might just borrow some from work. I'm going to take that out later. I'm going to get some rubber ones so they don't move around as well on this floor and chalks the plane better. But now that I got that out, for the most part, zoom out. For the most part, the panel is clear. I don't have anything in it. I've got one piece of hardware back here. I might pull that out. I might not. It's one screw. I may go ahead and pull that out. I did buy some new tools to try to cut this out with. Yeah, that piece right there, I might just go ahead and pull that out. And then I'm going to try to come in here, do a nice cut right there. Nice cut on the floor, cut on this floor, cut all the way up. And I'm going to work on getting around here. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to work on getting this out. And I'm actually going to work on getting this out first. So that way, I've got the cutter out. I just cut. I don't have to worry about removing hardware or anything. I'm just good to go and cut. So those ones I'm going to try. I'm going to get the GoPro set up. I don't have anything that I could clamp the GoPro onto here with, so you could see exactly what I was doing or how I was doing it. So I videos the little short clips the best I could, but I just couldn't do it. It's way too cramped down in there, and I didn't have any way to hold the GoPro and do everything that I wanted to do. So I'm going to work on getting the landing brake and the pitch trim, the stock pitch trim out, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, so got the whole cam system out for the landing brake. Wasn't too bad. I had the two springs up here that were held in by safety wire. I had to get those. I actually just cut the safety wire. Down there, I had to actually had to cut the cables because the cables were all swedged together on the cam system. I find that they were swedged right there, so there's no way I could get them out of there without cutting them. I wish it didn't have to do that. I want to try to destroy as little stuff as possible trying to get this done, but it had to be done, so I got that taken care of. So now that whole area down there is actually pretty clean and ready for the actuator. I'm pretty sure this this is gonna have to come out, so I'll probably have to cut that out, and I'm gonna have to glass in a new piece, probably up here to hold the actuator somewhere, but I'm not doing any of that until I actually get the actuator in. So next thing is getting the levers out. So progress, slowly but surely, we're getting there. The only other thing that I am going to do, I'm gonna not putting the cutting off, just because I'm still nervous about doing it. But when I get all that done, the last thing I'm going to do today, I've got some 5-gallon buckets with lids out in my car. I'm going to drain the fuel tanks. I did sump the tanks just for fun to see what the fuel looked like. It's not blue. It's a greenish blue. So bad fuel, I suspect. Either way, I wouldn't even try to start the engine with that fuel in there, even if it was blue, because it's been sitting for a while. So I'm going to get the tanks drained. Hopefully I have enough capacity in the, again, 2 5-gallon buckets. Hopefully I've got enough to do that with. The right side tank, even though the thing shows 5 gallons, there's clearly no fuel in it. And same for this side, even though it's all the way down, but it doesn't show any fuel. So I'm hoping the between the two I have enough to get both the tanks drained. I'm gonna do one at a time. I've got lids for them. Once I get drained, I'm gonna put the lids back on, throw them in my car, and I can actually take them up to work and dispose of fuel there. Excuse me, because this airport does not have a place to dispose of fuel. So anyways, I think I'm going to try to set the GoPro up for getting the levers out. It's just going to be a time lapse. I'm trying to make these videos a little bit shorter. I noticed the last one, the last one was 48 minutes. The one before that was just over an hour. So I'm trying to make these a little bit shorter, a little bit more concise, and actually show progress on them instead of just talking about it. So like I said, time lapse probably on the GoPro, and yeah, here we go. All right, last little clip of me before we start cutting. I actually did do one cut because I've never used this type of tool before. I wanted to see how it worked, how well it works. So I did do, let me get my light up here. I did do this cut right here. Tool actually works really, really well. I need to be a little bit straighter with my cuts, but it'll be a lot easier once I'm working on the sides over here. I can actually see a little bit better what I'm doing. So really happy with it. So I did get, just so I have some more room over here, I got the stick taped back and out of the way. I looked at just taking it off, but I don't feel like undoing all the bolts and everything right now. And the stick is actually glued on, so that's going to change. But for now, that's how it's being held there. So on to cutting. All right, that was nerve-wracking, but I got it done. It's a little rough. A lot clearer than I expected it to be, though. So I'm actually really happy with it. So here's what we got going on. Let's see if I can get some light over here. I love these lights. These are so nice. So I didn't get it flush, which that's fine. Was not planning on getting it flush. Zoom out. So that's going to get sanded down. This is going to get sanded down. I'm going to go back and fix that later. This is going to get rounded off. This piece is going to come out. I didn't get all the way up in there, but again, that's fine. This is going to get cleaned up right here. Oh, sorry. That right there is going to get cleaned up. Same on this side. This piece is going to come out. This piece is going to come out. I might actually go ahead and do that one today too. I got into this fiberglass just a little bit. It looks like just the paint was taken off, or a little bit of epoxy, but my plan is this whole area, once I get this sanded down flush, is going to get another layer of fiberglass on it. Same on this side, just to put in some strength. Oh, turn the video off again. Oops. So yeah, those two areas right on the walls, are going to get a sheet of fiberglass. Depends on how much it costs. I might just get a sheet of carbon and put some carbon down. Either way. And then there's going to be bolt blocks. I'm going to put probably 3 bolt blocks. One here, here, and here. Or one here, here, and then put one coming up off the bottom to bolt the new panel to. And I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm also going to have a bolt block right here. This is going to get... Stupid helicopters. This is going to get sanded a little bit more flat. And then I'm going to have a bolt block up there, so that way the bottom of the panel has something to bolt onto. So, next step for today, I'm going to go ahead and I've got something to use as a straight edge here. I'm going to draw a line. So I'm going to come straight up and over and down here. Then I'm going to follow this all the way down to here. Now I'm going to do a straight line up and back over, back to this opening. That way this all can come off. I can put my throttle quadrant in here. The stock trim piece I can't get back out because all the bolts are in here. It looks like that was all assembled before this was actually put on and glued in. This is going to get the same bolt blocks, so this can bolt back in. I've been told by several people that this is not really a structural piece, so I'm not too concerned, but I am going to bolt it in there good enough. Oops, sorry. I'm going to bolt it back in there good enough to where the bolts and the mounting blocks and everything, once everything's bolted back together, it will bring some strength back into it. So, whew, that was nerve-wracking. I was really, really nervous about it, but now that I've done it, now that I've done that cut, I'm not nervous anymore. I feel more confident going into the next one. And there's less things for me to worry about. I was really worried about digging into the foam and the fiberglass on the side of the fuselage, and I didn't want to do that. I did skim it just a little bit on the left side, but again, I know that I was going to lay another piece of fiberglass over there, fiberglass and epoxy and all that stuff. So that way, that strength will be retained. And then again, the bolt blocks are all going to be they're all going to be fiberglassed in there really, really well. So that way, again, once I bolt the panel in, strength is retained. I've got my rigidity back that I need up there, and all stuff like that. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get the lines drawn where I want to cut on the left-hand armrest, and then I'm going to fire the GoPro back up. And again, I did a time lapse on the last one. All the cutting, the time lapse was like 47 seconds, I think. So go ahead and draw my lines, and then I'm going to fire the GoPro back up, do a time lapse again, and then I'll be back to talk. Alright, so I'm done working for the day. I didn't film this at the hangar because there were a couple other guys that were working on a helicopter inside the hangar, and I didn't want to be filming while they were working and talking, and just how I am. So I did take some pictures of the finished work. I'm going to try to put them up in editing here. I like that I got everything done. The panel's off. That left the left armrest is off, and now I can see what kind of room I have to work with under that left armrest. The panel, I kind of knew how much I was going to have to work with or not work with for that small of a plane. So now I'm going to start looking at throttle quadrants. Again, like I said before, I haven't seen anything that I really liked, so I may end up building my own throttle quadrant. I don't know yet. I'm going to see what's out there and take another look through what's out there again and see what we got. I did not get to doing the fuel today. I kind of want to pull the plane outside to do that. I don't want the fuel fumes in the hangar because there's a bunch of stuff in there that's not mine. I don't know how often people are in there. There's rarely anybody there when I'm there. And the two guys were working on the helicopter in there, so I didn't want to get the avgas fumes and everything in there. So that's going to be for another day. But I'm really happy with what I got done today. And yeah, I'm going to go home and do some... I've got the armrest piece that I cut out. I've got that with me. So I'm going to do a little bit of sanding on it, the edges, on both in the plane and on the armrest itself. It's just foam core. I thought it was going to be wood, but it's foam core, so it's not really structural. But I'm going to... The ends where I cut, where the foam is exposed, I'm going to sand that down a little bit, just clean it up, and then I'm going to wrap the ends with fiberglass, get that all glued up, and then again work on the throttle quadrant, see what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have to cut part of the armrest for the throttle quadrant. Back when I thought that the armrest was structural, I was actually thinking about mounting the throttle quadrant to the piece that I cut out. But now that I see that it's not a structural piece and it's just foam core, and it's not really flimsy because it's on both sides of the foam, it's fiberglass, so it has some strength to it, but I don't think I'm going to mount the throttle quadrant to that. What I did notice is there's two bolts sticking out of the fuselage side for the pitch trim. I might try to mount it there. The other thing that I'm thinking is, instead of doing it's not a complicated pitch trim system, but instead of doing that, I'm wondering if I can cut the pitch trim adjustment arm down and use the springs and everything, because I've already got everything on the elevators, or on the elevator tube, cutting that lever down and hooking an actuator up to that, and using that to control my pitch trim instead of making I think it's the Atkinson piece that's got the aluminum tube and the springs and everything. So maybe instead of doing that, I might see if it's possible to mount attach a servo to that arm and do it that way. I think it would be less weight, a little bit less complexity, because everything that I need is already in the plane, aside from a place to mount the servo to. So there was somebody else that posted about that on Facebook or on a blog or something. I messaged him. Me and him been messaging back and forth a little bit. I'm going to pose that question to him and see what he says. Because that would make things a little bit easier, especially since I already have that left side armrest off. The only concern then would be
am I going to have room for my throttle quadrant? Again, all things I need to look at, and we'll see what happens. So, yeah, for right now, I'm going to leave it at that, and I will probably be going back out to the plane tomorrow. Not sure what I'm going to do. But yeah, so for now, that's where I'm at. Yeah. If anybody has any questions or anything, I know there's something I'm forgetting. But yeah, I'll look through. I always read the comments. Anybody that has commented on my posts, I hope everyone notices that I like all of the comments, and I try to respond to every one of them. If it's a comment that warrants a response, I respond to it. So, anyways, yeah, everybody have a good night. See ya.